All right, punks, we are back again. This time, another session from Parx Casino, my home casino outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We are getting back from that loss last time. Let's hope that we can run it up and we can get in the positive this time. If you want to find out what we do, you got to wait till the end. Always remember, like, subscribe, leave some comments down below. I go through all of them. But anyway, without any further ado, let's get to some hands. When we get to Parx this evening, we get seated at a 1-3 table as there are no 2-5 seats available. The first hand we get involved with here, we are in middle position and raise Jack 10 of spades to $15. Only the big blind calls. With $31 in the pot, we see a flop of Queen 4-3. Not a great flop for us, but when the villain checks to us, we see bet for $20. Without much thought, the villain calls. With 71 in the pot, we see the turn of the King of Clubs. On the turn, giving us an open-ender, and when the big blind checks again, we size up to $65 here. This does get the job done as the villain folds, and we take it down. On this next hand, we are on the button with pocket fives. Low jack raises to $15. We decide to flat here, and the big blind then shoves for $51 total. Both the low jack and I call, and with $154 in the pot, we see a flop of ace of diamonds, 9 of diamonds, 5 of clubs. Smash! Oh yeah, we just flop bottom set. The low jack has already checked in the dark, so it is just a matter of if we can get some of his money in the middle. We decide to go polar since he should have a lot of ace-x hands in his range here, and the check dark is kind of a tell that he has like a marginal hand that might be an ace hand. So with all that being thought, I bet for $120. Unfortunately, the low jack insta folds 7-10 face up. The run out is 2 blanks, and the big blind informs us he missed and shows Queen 10 offsuit. We show our set and scoop another one. A seat at the 2-5 game finally opens up, and we move tables. The first hand we get involved with here, we are in the cutoff with ace-king offsuit. The under the gun straddle is on, under the gun 1 raises to $45. Hijack flat calls, and I decide this is a perfect spot for a 3-bet, so I raise to $200. To my surprise, both players call. With $617 in the pot, we see a flop of 10 of diamonds, 8 of diamonds, 4 of clubs. The under the gun 1 player checks, and the hijack immediately shoves all in for $570.
What you talking about, Willis?
I've not been at this table long, but I really have no idea what he could be doing this with, and I am pretty certain that we do not have him beat. So we decide to fold, especially with another player left to act behind us. Under the gun 1 decides that he is folding 2. This is a very strange line to double flat and then insta shove. It's just a very strange play, and it ends up being indicative of this player all night long. A little while later, we are in the cutoff with ace 10 offsuit. The straddle is on, and under the gun 1 limps, and low jack limps as well. We make it $40 to go, but in hindsight, I think I should have gone a little bit bigger, like 50 or 55. The button and under the gun 1 end up calling, and under the gun and low jack both fold. With 147 in the pot, we see a flop of 10-3-3 with the 10-3 of hearts. Under the gun 1 now donk leads for $75, and we end up being the only caller. Now with $297 in the pot, we see the jack of hearts on the turn. This improves us to a pair and the nut flush draw. Under the gun 1 sizes up here to $150. And like I said, with a nut flush draw and a strong pair, we decide to call. The pot is now $597, and we see the 7 of clubs on the river. Under the gun 1 now checks, so we take the opportunity to turn our hand into a bluff and bet out $150, trying to make it look like a value bet here. The villain tanks for a bit and eventually folds. And we're able to get this one through and pick up a decent little pot here. The next hand we get involved with, we are in the small blind and we look down at pocket aces. The hijack raises to $35 and the button calls. Of course, this is not enough for us. We, being out of position, decide to size up here to $135. When it gets back on the hijack, we get music to our ears when he announces a raise to $435. The button quickly folds and we shove for our $978. The hijack insta calls and we know we should be well ahead, but we think we could use a bit of run good here. And one way to help us out with that run good is to hit that like and subscribe button in 3, 2, 1. The run out comes 10 of diamonds, deuce of clubs, 7 of diamonds, king of hearts. Uh-oh, we may have just gotten sunk. And then finally, the 8 of hearts. We show our aces and breathe a huge sigh of relief when the villain shows pocket jacks. We scoop a huge one here for a full double up, and we are very happy that we did not run into the hand we were expecting in pocket kings. I don't know what he was thinking blasting off with jacks like that, but I am always happy to get it in aces versus jacks. After that big double up, we are feeling great when we look down at king, queen of spades in the cutoff. The under the gun player limps, hijack raises to $25. We consider a 3-bet here, but decide to just flat as I don't think it'll thin out the field at all. And since a lot of players are limp calling any raise, we decide to play this one a little bit on the cautious side. After I flat, the button, big blind, and under the gun all call. With 127 in the pot, we're off to a flop of king 5-4 with the king of diamonds. Hijack c-bets for $65. We call and the other players fold. Now with 257 in the pot, we get to a turn heads up of the jack of diamonds. Hijack now checks and we fire for $125 here. The villain calls, so we're off to a river with 507 in the pot, and that river falls the 10 of clubs. The villain then checks to me again, and I start to think of what he called with on the turn, and I see a bunch of hands that I am second best to. A lot of 2-pair and set combinations here, and even though I know in my head I should be going for some thin value here, my heart is a little bit scared, and we end up checking back. The villain then turns over queen jack offsuit, and I was immediately kicking myself in my head for not going for some value here. I think that since he called the turn, he might have called up to about a $200 bet here, and he's obviously not convinced that I had a king since he called on the turn. These are the spots I really need to go for some thin value and fold if I get raised, and realize that if I get check raised on a river, it usually means that somebody really has a strong hand. We find ourselves with a premium in the small blind again when we are dealt ace king offsuit. Under the gun, low jack, and the button all limp, but there will be no limping for us, so we decide to make it $35 to go. Probably a little on the small side. We probably should have gone more like 40, 45, or 50, but I am still getting this out of position raise amounts adjusted in my head. But apparently this struck the fear of God into all of them, as the big blind and the rest of the limpers all call. With 177 in the pot, we go to a flop of jack 10-5 rainbow. We continue here for $55 and only the big blind calls. Now with 287 in the pot, we get a jack of diamonds on the turn. With the board pairing, we figure the big blind is less likely to have jack, so we continue and size up for $85. Now the big blind goes into the tank and eventually calls. $457 in the pot, and we get the 2 of hearts on the river. With 2 calls from the villain, we decide to shut it down here, and we are most likely beat, and we decide to check. The villain then goes into the tank for about a minute and eventually comes up with a $300 bet.
Go!
We can't call this bet with ace high, and we are forced to fold and give back some of our stack that we took earlier in the session. All right, punks, we were into this session for one buy-in, so $1,000. We were out of this session for $2,267 for us being up $1,267. That's a great bounce back from the last session where we were actually down a couple hundred, and that's what we like to see here on the channel. Always remember, if you want me to get that run good going, like, subscribe, hit the alert button so that it reminds you when the new videos are coming out. Also remember, we have that giveaway coming up with 500 subscribers. We're getting close. 5 lucky winners are going to win a Poker Punx hoodie, Poker Punx card protector, and some stickers. If you want it to be you, you got to subscribe. Also, if you would rather just order a hoodie or a card protector, reach out to me, pokerpunx@gmail.com. And as always, run it up the punks.